It was a dark and stormy night as flight prepared for departure. Passengers nervously boarded the airplane, but they tried to shake off their unease, dismissing it as mere superstition. Little did they know that this would be a flight they'd never forget. The plane took off into the inky blackness of the night, and soon after reaching cruising altitude, strange things began to happen. The lights flickered, and the cabin was filled with an eerie cold breeze. Flight attendants exchanged nervous glances, sensing that something was amiss. As the aircraft flew on, passengers began hearing unsettling whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. Each person felt a growing sense of dread in the pit of their stomachs, and fear spread like wildfire through the cabin. Suddenly, the cockpit door swung open, revealing an empty space inside. The captain and co-pilot were nowhere to be found. Panic ensued among the passengers, and the flight attendants frantically searched for the missing crew members. They found the cockpit to be deserted, with no signs of struggle or explanation. The plane's intercom crackled to life, emitting a sinister voice that sent shivers down the spines of everyone on board. "Welcome to the flight of no return," the voice hissed. "Prepare for a journey you'll never forget." As the passengers looked around in terror, they noticed the cabin had changed. The windows displayed nightmarish scenes, fiery skies, ghostly apparitions, and terrifying landscapes. It was as if they had entered a realm of the supernatural. Voice synthesis performed by Yandex Cloud Speech Ticket. In the distance, a figure emerged from the darkness. A pale, ghostly flight attendant glided down the aisle, her eyes hollow and lifeless. She warned the passengers of an ancient curse that had befallen this flight. Decades ago, flight had vanished without a trace, and it was said that the souls of the lost passengers haunted the skies seeking vengeance. Desperate to escape this nightmare, some passengers tried to pry open the emergency exits, but to no avail. The plane seemed to defy the laws of physics, as if it were locked in some ghastly dimension. The apparitions intensified, chilling cries and wails echoed through the cabin, and shadows danced across the walls. A young boy clutching a tattered teddy bear appeared, asking for his mother. A weeping woman, drenched in water, claimed she had drowned in the airplane's past life. The restless spirits sought solace in the living, trying to communicate their anguish and find release. One by one, the passengers experienced terrifying visions and encounters with the otherworldly. The line between the living and the dead blurred, and they were forced to confront their deepest fears and regrets. As the hours dragged on, the fear and despair were palpable. A few brave souls tried to perform rituals to appease the spirits, but nothing seemed to work. The airplane had become a haunted prison, with no escape in sight. Time lost all meaning as the flight seemed to continue indefinitely. Exhausted, terrified, and on the brink of madness, the passengers had almost given up hope. Then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the haunting ceased. The spirits faded away, and the airplane returned to its normal state. The cockpit door reopened, revealing the captain and co-pilot, who seemed unaware of the harrowing events that had unfolded. The airplane landed safely, and the passengers disembarked, shaken to their core. Many refused to believe what they had experienced, chalking it up to collective hysteria or a shared hallucination. But those who had lived through flight knew the truth. They had traversed the boundary between the living and the dead, and they would forever carry the memories of that terrifying journey. From that day on, flight was grounded permanently. No airline dared to fly that cursed route again, for fear of awakening the restless spirits that haunted the skies. And so the legend of flight lived on, whispered among aviators and travelers, as a chilling reminder of the mysteries that lurk in the dark corners of the world. It was a dark and stormy night as flight prepared for takeoff. The passengers boarded the plane, and an eerie feeling seemed to linger in the air. As the plane taxied to the runway, the lightning flashed ominously, and the thunder roared as if warning them of impending doom. Captain Mitchell, a seasoned pilot, tried to remain calm as he led his crew. However, he couldn't shake off the nagging sense that something was terribly wrong. Little did he know that the airplane was not what it seemed. It had a dark history plagued by mysterious accidents and countless tales of hauntings. As flight soared through the night sky, strange things started happening. Passengers reported seeing shadowy figures moving in the corners of their eyes. Some claimed to hear ghostly whispers echoing through the cabin, despite being isolated from one another. The cabin crew began to feel a chilling presence, making their hair stand on end as if unseen hands brushed against their skin. A woman sitting in a claimed she saw a child-like figure wandering the aisles, but when the flight attendants investigated, there was nothing there. The temperature in the cabin fluctuated wildly, from icy cold to sweltering heat in a matter of minutes. The onboard instruments malfunctioned, showing erratic readings and unexplained anomalies. As the flight continued, Captain Mitchell started delving into the plane's history. He discovered that flight was infamous for its tragedies. It had a history of mysterious disappearances, unexplained accidents, and strange occurrences throughout its years of service. According to the records, it was believed that the plane was cursed by the souls of those who had tragically perished on its flights. Captain Mitchell kept this revelation to himself, not wanting to panic the passengers and crew further. He hoped that it was all a coincidence and that they would make it to their destination safely. But as the flight progressed, the supernatural occurrences escalated, making it harder to ignore the ominous truth. Passengers grew increasingly frightened, and rumors of the plane being haunted spread like wildfire. The crew struggled to maintain order as panic gripped the cabin. Some passengers demanded to be let off the plane, while others prayed fervently, seeking divine protection from whatever malevolent force was haunting the aircraft. The flight attendants tried to reassure everyone, but their own fear was evident in their eyes. Even the most skeptical among them couldn't deny the inexplicable events unfolding around them. The once unified crew became divided, some believing in the supernatural, while others tried to find rational explanations for the eerie happenings. As the situation grew dire, Captain Mitchell decided that an emergency landing was necessary. He communicated with air traffic control, trying to find a suitable airport to land. However, the plane seemed to be drawn towards a desolate and abandoned airfield in the middle of nowhere. Despite his best efforts to redirect the plane, flight continued its course towards the ghostly airfield. The captain tried all his skills to regain control, but it was as if an invisible force was guiding the plane to its destined location. Upon landing, the truth about the plane's curse was revealed. Long ago, flight had been involved in a horrific crash that claimed the lives of all its passengers and crew. Since then, the restless souls haunted the plane, seeking redemption and a chance to leave this earthly realm. The spirits were angry, and their energy fueled the terrifying events that had unfolded during the flight. The passengers and crew were now trapped, and the only way to break the curse was to confront the ghosts and help them find peace. With no other option, Captain Mitchell and the surviving crew members gathered the passengers to perform a ritual to communicate with the spirits. They needed to understand their grievances and find a way to release them from their torment. In a solemn ceremony, they lit candles and chanted prayers, trying to reach out to the lingering souls. The airplane cabin became a theater of paranormal activity, with lights flickering, objects moving, and ghostly apparitions appearing before them. Through the ritual, they discovered the ghosts' sorrowful stories, passengers who had died too soon, crew members who hadn't been able to say goodbye to their loved ones, and others seeking forgiveness for past wrongs. Together, they helped the spirits find closure, offering words of comfort and solace. As dawn approached, the plane was engulfed in a blinding light, and a sense of peace washed over everyone on board. The curse was finally broken, and the spirits were free to move on to the afterlife. The plane was no longer haunted, and flight completed its journey to its intended destination, but it would forever be remembered as the flight that defied the supernatural. Captain Mitchell and his crew were hailed as heroes, though they knew the truth: they were mere instruments in the redemption of souls. From that day on, the airplane was retired, but its story lived on as a cautionary tale to those who dared to ignore the power of the unknown. The legend of flight, the haunted airplane, became part of aviation folklore, a chilling reminder that sometimes the past can never truly be left behind.